I've always loved early mornings. There's something sacred about the quiet before the world fully wakes up. The smell of dew, the steam curling from my tea, the rhythm of my feet on the sidewalk as I loop around the neighborhood. At 72, routine is comfort. And for the past 30 years, my morning walk around the block in Asheville, North Carolina has been my small, silent ritual. A scarf tied over my curlers, reusable grocery bag swinging at my hip, tea in hand. I wasn't expecting anything unusual that day. Just a stop at the corner market and back home before the sun got too high. But the moment I reached my apartment door, something felt wrong. The kind of wrong that makes the hairs on your arms rise before your brain has caught up. There were voices inside. Not the television. Not the neighbors' muffled arguments through the walls. Real voices. In my home. I hesitated for a second, then slowly turned the knob. The door creaked open, and that's when I heard her. Sweet, syrupy, and entirely out of place. "And here's the kitchen," a woman chirped. "You said the sunlight's perfect for staging, right?" I stood frozen in the doorway, the bag of groceries slipping slightly down my forearm. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. And then I saw them. My daughter Rebecca, dressed like she was heading to brunch instead of betrayal, and her husband Craig, always so polished and polite, but with that air of calculation I never could trust. They were smiling, laughing, pointing, walking a stranger through my apartment like it was a goddamn open house on HGTV. Rebecca didn't even glance my way as she opened my kitchen cabinets, talking about how bright and airy everything felt. Craig stood by the hallway, gesturing toward the dining room like it was already his. My late husband's military photo was still hanging on the wall, and Craig actually nodded toward it and said, "This section could come down. Open the space up." I wanted to scream, but no sound came out. Just the sharp, acidic burn of disbelief spreading in my chest. Then the realtor asked, "And your mom's okay with the timing?" That was when Rebecca turned around and finally saw me. She didn't jump, didn't flinch, just blinked, smiled slightly, and said as casually as ordering lunch, "Oh, hi, Mom. We were going to tell you. But come on, be honest. You're going to die soon anyway. Why not let us have the place now?" I swear I left my body in that moment. I was floating, watching, disconnected from the world. My mind couldn't compute what my ears had just heard. Craig had the audacity to chuckle like it was all so practical, so reasonable. Rebecca reached for her iced coffee, nodded toward the windows and said, "No stairs. Great lighting. And we really need the space for the baby." There was no baby. There wasn't even a pregnancy. Just a Pinterest board and a fantasy. I don't know how I found the strength, but I set the groceries down gently by the doorway. The milk, the eggs. The bag of oranges I picked one by one. Then I walked slowly, deliberately, to my armchair and sat down. No one paused. No one asked me if I was okay. Rebecca kept talking about renovation timelines. Craig was already throwing around phrases like, fast-track closing. The realtor was taking notes. I sat there, a ghost in my own home. They said they could have the place cleared out within a month. Maybe sooner. "If she's cooperative," Rebecca said. Cooperative. As if I was a squatter. In the life I'd built. In the space I'd paid for. In the home I'd raised her in. Eventually they all left. Still chattering as they walked down the hall, talking about paint samples and nursery colors. I didn't follow. I didn't even move. I just sat there, staring at the dented corner of the coffee table. The one Rebecca chipped when she was 5, trying to climb it like a jungle gym. That night, I poured a glass of red wine, turned off every light, and sat in the dark. Not crying. Not angry. Just empty. It wasn't heartbreak. It was something colder. A silence that echoed inside my chest. That was the night I understood. I was never really seen. To them I was just a placeholder. A resource. A piece of real estate waiting to be claimed. And the worst part? They weren't waiting for me to die. They were already erasing me. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't even try. I sat in the dark, in the same chair where they had paraded their entitlement hours before, the red wine untouched on the table beside me. The apartment was silent, but my thoughts weren't. They moved like cold water slipping through the cracks of everything I'd once believed was solid: family, loyalty, love. I wasn't afraid. Not exactly. What I felt was worse. Stillness. A kind of hollow quiet that didn't come from sadness, but something deeper. This wasn't shock. It was clarity. Rebecca and Craig weren't waiting for me to die. They were preparing for it, arranging it, accelerating it. And that meant I had to stop being their mother in the way I had always been, open, trusting, generous. I had to become someone else now. Someone precise. Private. Strategic. That night, I opened the hall closet and reached into the back of the top shelf where I kept a battered shoebox filled with tangled cords, old receipts, and forgotten electronics. Near the bottom, beneath an old digital camera and a charger I didn't recognize, I found it. A small black voice recorder. I almost laughed. Craig had given it to me years ago when I said I was thinking about writing a memoir. I never used it. But now it felt like a gift from a past version of myself who knew this moment would come. I charged it overnight, tested the mic, played back a few seconds of static, then my voice sang. Testing, 1, 2. It worked. The next day, I slipped the recorder into the inner zip pocket of my purse and left it half open by the couch. I didn't call them. I didn't hint at anything. I simply waited and like clockwork, they came. Craig didn't knock, he never did anymore. He just strolled in like he held the deed to the place. Rebecca followed, perfectly made up, her new haircut sharp and intentional, like someone playing the role of concerned daughter in a community theater production. We just want to help you, Mom, Craig said the minute he stepped inside. That was his opening line. His absolution. It's not safe for you to be living alone, Rebecca chimed in, setting her oversized tote down like she owned the damn room. What if you fall? What if you forget the stove again? I didn't answer right away. Instead, I asked softly, sweetly. Do you remember the last time I forgot anything? Craig shifted. Rebecca blinked but didn't respond. She just gave a tired little sigh and pulled out her phone. We've been looking into assisted living options, she said, scrolling like she was booking a table for brunch. Just short-term, until we figure out something more stable. For your safety. There it was. The pitch. Soft words masking hard intentions. They weren't here to help me, they were here to remove me. I smiled politely. Nodded. I even offered them tea. I let them believe I was folding. But inside, I was documenting everything. Every condescending phrase, every manipulative pause, every fake look of concern. The recorder was catching all of it. When they left, I waited until I heard the elevator doors close, then snatched my purse off the floor and played the file back. It was perfect. Rebecca's What If You Fall, Craig's Just Until We Figure Things Out, the suggestion that I was slipping mentally. The whole damn blueprint. I emailed the file to myself immediately. Then copied it to 2 flash drives, one hidden inside my sewing basket, another taped beneath a loose drawer in the kitchen. That same afternoon, I called Margaret. She's the only friend I've ever had who never treated me like a burden. The kind of woman who listens without interrupting and sharpens her words like knives when you're too tired to cut through the nonsense yourself. I told her everything. How they walked through my apartment like I was already gone. How they spoke about me like I wasn't even in the room. Margaret didn't gasp. Didn't ask me if I was sure. She just got up, walked to her file cabinet, and pulled out a business card. He helped my sister when her sons tried to do the same thing, she said. The name on the card was David Levinson, elder law and financial abuse specialist. I called him the next morning. He didn't talk down to me. Didn't ask if I had someone else on the line to help explain things. He spoke to me like a peer, like a woman with a mind and a plan. He told me to start recording everything. To never sign anything. And above all, do not let them know I was preparing for a fight. That night, I sat at my kitchen table with the recorder in my purse, a folder on my desktop labeled groceries that was anything but groceries, and a voice in my head, my own, saying, "This is war. And I don't plan to lose." A few days after my conversation with David, I woke up with a pit in my stomach. I couldn't shake it. The apartment felt different. Not just emotionally but legally. As if something had shifted beneath my feet and I hadn't yet seen the crack form. I decided to go downstairs to the building office. I told myself it was just a check-in, a routine thing. But the truth was I had a feeling, and it wasn't going away. The assistant manager, a girl no older than my granddaughter, looked up from her computer with a polite smile when I said my name. But then came the pause. The kind that shouldn't exist when you're talking to someone who lives here, who's lived here for 30 years. "Could you say your last name again?" she asked, flipping through a clipboard like she was trying to buy time. "Barrett. Josephine Barrett. Unit 4B. She nodded slowly now, scanning her papers. Then she frowned. You're not on the lease anymore. I blinked. I'm sorry. She turned the clipboard around. There it was. The current lease agreement. Only one name listed on the line where there had always been two. Rebecca Langford. My daughter. My name crossed out in pen. Not erased digitally. Not removed by management. Crossed out. Like a note someone scribbled over when they changed their mind. I could feel the blood rushing behind my ears. But my voice stayed steady. There must be a mistake. She gave a weak smile. The kind you wear when you're caught in the middle of someone else's mess. I'll have to talk to the building supervisor, she said. But yeah, this isn't new. Not new. Which meant this didn't just happen. They'd done it quietly. Deliberately. I walked back to my apartment like my bones were suddenly made of glass. Every step hurt. Not physically but in memory. In betrayal. In the sharp awareness that I had raised someone who was willing to make me legally disappear. The moment I got inside, I started pulling drawers open. I tore through files, folders, old manila envelopes with brittle corners. And finally I found it. My lease. The original. Signed. Dated. Stamped. Legal. I took a photo. Scanned the document. Emailed it to David before I even took my coat off. He called me within the hour. This is fraud, he said, voice calm but firm. They can't remove you without consent. Especially if you're still paying rent. I am, I said. Every month. From my own account. Always have. Then we've got grounds. Real grounds. He paused. But don't confront them yet. Let them think they're ahead. And I understood immediately. This wasn't just a mistake. It was a strategy. They were preparing to erase me one document at a time. That night I didn't sleep. I just stared at the ceiling, tracking the shadows that stretched across it like silent threats. Rebecca's sudden concern about my medications. Craig's questions about my utility bills. The unexpected visits. The fake smiles. It all added up now. They weren't helping. They were inventorying. Every moment of kindness was actually bookkeeping. Every question a measurement. Every suggestion a nudge toward the door. And now that my name had been crossed out, physically, literally, symbolically, I knew. If I didn't act, I would vanish. From the lease. From the bank. From the records. From my own life. But not yet. Not on my watch. The day after I found my name crossed out, I made coffee as usual. Same mug. Same seat at the kitchen table. Same sun filtering through the lace curtains. But something inside me had changed. I wasn't grieving anymore. I was planning. It started small. I walked through my apartment, not as a homeowner, but as a surveyor. What would I take? What would I sell? What did they expect to find here once I was gone? I opened the china cabinet first. It was filled with things no one had touched in years. Crystal I'd stopped using, porcelain from my wedding registry, a blue glass bowl that Rebecca once called so outdated. I listed it all anonymously on a private resale site. No names. No address. Pick up by appointment only during hours I knew they wouldn't visit. Gone. Piece by piece. Next was the vintage floor lamp Craig always side-eyed like it was in his way. Then the antique vanity from my mother. And finally, the piano. No one had played it in 20 years. The cleaner dusted it more than any of us ever touched it. It hurt to let it go. But I needed the space and the cash. With each item that left the apartment, I felt lighter. Like I was peeling off the layers of their expectations. Their assumptions. Their plan. I opened 2 new bank accounts under a trust name David helped me set up. It took hours of paperwork, in-person verifications, phone calls where I had to repeat myself to people who thought I was doddering and confused, but I got it done. Then I transferred everything. Savings. CDs. Even my pension deposits. All of it went into the trust, named after Charlotte, my sister. Rebecca's real mother. Because if I was going to vanish, I wasn't just taking myself with me. I was taking the truth too. By that point, I'd already moved my most valuable items out of the house. Jewelry. Bonds. My husband's old watch. All of it packed into a fireproof case and delivered quietly to Margaret's guest bedroom closet. She didn't ask questions. She just made tea, cleared a shelf, and said, "Whenever you're ready." But I wasn't just preparing financially. I was still documenting. The voice recorder had done its job, but I needed something stronger. Something visual. something they couldn't twist. So I ordered a nanny cam disguised as a table lamp, matte silver, discreet, functional. I placed it in the corner of the living room, angled toward the hallway. And then I waited. Sure enough, they came by that weekend. Rebecca with her usual curated concern. Craig, all smiles and soft threats wrapped in fake affection. They brought a pie. Blueberry. They know I hate blueberry. We found this lovely new community center, Mom, Rebecca said. It has game nights, a book club, even gentle yoga. Craig nodded. It's really for the best. You need support, companionship, supervision. While I entertained their little performance, I noticed it. The hallway light flicked on. Someone had triggered the motion sensor. Rebecca was still seated, which meant Craig had slipped away. I stayed calm, sipped my tea, smiled. When they finally left, I waited exactly 90 seconds, then rushed to the hallway. The cabinet where I kept my medications was ajar. Inside, 3 of the bottles had been switched. Same labels, different pills. Old, expired prescriptions, subtle changes, barely noticeable unless you knew what to look for. I didn't feel fear. I felt clarity. They weren't just trying to move me out. They were trying to make me look unstable, confused, sick, like someone who needed to be removed. I went straight to the footage. There it was, Craig entering my room, opening the cabinet, swapping the pills, practicing a concerned expression in the mirror. I backed it up. Twice. Saved 1 copy to the cloud, another on a flash drive labeled utility receipts. And I sent the video straight to David. Subject line, they crossed the line. He called within the hour. We have enough now, he said. This isn't just unethical. It's criminal. I'm not ready to go public, I said. Not yet. Then we hold, he replied. But when you're ready, we strike. That night, I sat on my bed with my old will in one hand and a pen in the other. Rebecca's name was right there. Sole beneficiary. Every dollar. Every asset. A future she thought was hers. I didn't even hesitate. The new will removed her completely. Instead, I created a charitable trust in Charlotte's name. Because for all her demons, she had tried. And because Rebecca would never understand sacrifice unless it benefited her. I divided the rest between the women's shelter in town, my church, the school I taught at for 30 years, and Margaret. The only one who never once made me feel like a burden. When David filed it, I felt something shift. A door, maybe, closing gently. Not in grief, but in peace. It was Margaret who gave me the envelope. I knew something was different the moment she called. Her voice was lower than usual, quieter, like she was holding something fragile in her mouth. She asked me to come over for tea, said it like a whisper, and I didn't question it. When I arrived, the living room looked the same, crocheted blanket folded over the couch, her cat dozing in the corner, but the air felt heavier. Still, like it was waiting. She had already poured 2 cups. And on the coffee table, dead center, sat a manila envelope. Not addressed. Not labeled. Just there. Margaret didn't make small talk. She didn't comment on the weather or my hair. She just looked me in the eye and said, "You deserve to know everything before you leave." I sat down slowly, hands already trembling before I touched the paper. Because somehow I knew. Part of me had always known. I opened the envelope. Inside was a birth certificate. Not mine. Not Rebecca's, at least not at first glance. But then I saw the mother's name. Charlotte Evelyn Barrett. My sister. And I felt the breath leave my lungs. The name I hadn't spoken aloud in over 30 years. Not since the funeral. Not since I buried every piece of her with it, pain, guilt, memory, and started pretending the story ended differently. I looked up at Margaret and she was already nodding. "You weren't wrong to raise her like your own," she said. "But she deserves to know. And so do you." I looked down again. Rebecca's full name was there. Her real name. Her real mother. Her real origin. And it all came rushing back. Charlotte was brilliant and broken. She was fire and shadow, all at once. She tried a god, but the addiction always won. When Rebecca was born, Charlotte was already in and out of treatment, spiraling. By the time the baby turned 2, I had already taken over, diapers, midnight feedings, pediatrician appointments. And when Charlotte overdosed the following spring, there was no one left. So I stepped in. Not out of obligation. Out of love. I raised Rebecca as mine. Gave her my name. My home. My everything. And I never told her. Because I thought I was protecting her. From the shame. From the chaos. From a truth too heavy for a child to carry. But now. Now that child, the one I saved, was trying to erase me from my own life. With contracts. With forged leases. With medication tampering and honey-coated lies. She was cutting me out of my story the same way I'd once edited hers. Only this time it wasn't out of love. It was calculated. Cruel. Cold. I sat there with the envelope in my lap, staring at it like it had teeth. I didn't cry. Didn't rage. Didn't speak. I just remembered. How small she had been the first time she clung to my leg in public. How she used to call me Mommy Ellie before she dropped the Ellie altogether. How I stayed up through fevers, heartbreaks, broken curfews. And now she was breaking me with a smile on her face and a realtor on speed dial. I ran my thumb across the edge of the birth certificate. It felt like truth. Like finality. That night, I brought the envelope home and placed it in the same drawer where I kept my updated will. I didn't plan to give it to her. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But holding it made something shift inside me. I was no longer just protecting my apartment. Or my money. Or my independence. I was protecting my name. My story. My right to exist as I am, without shame, without secrets, and without apology. She wanted to erase me. But I had already begun the process of reclaiming myself. And now I wasn't fighting to survive. I was fighting to be remembered right. By the time Rebecca realized what I had done, I was already gone. I left Asheville without a single goodbye. No notes. No forwarding address. Just a clean break and a prepaid phone I turned off the moment I crossed the Tennessee line. I moved into a modest one-bedroom apartment on the east side of Nashville, rented under my maiden name, Josephine Carter. The neighbors didn't know my past. To them, I was just another quiet woman starting fresh, always with flowers in her window box and soup simmering on the stove. And for the first time in years, I could breathe. I slept with the windows open. No cameras. No locks triple-checked. No pills under my pillow, just in case. I woke up with no one watching, waiting, circling. No one calculating what I was worth. But peace never stays untouched for long. 2 weeks after I settled in, I opened my mailbox and found a thick white envelope. No return address, but I didn't need one. I recognized the weight of it before I read the name across the top. Whitaker versus Barrett. A lawsuit. Filed by Rebecca and Craig. Alleging emotional distress, financial sabotage, undue influence. Claiming I had been coerced by outside parties, David, Margaret, and that my will didn't reflect my true wishes. It would have been laughable if it hadn't been so venomously familiar. What stung more was the attached statement from Craig. That I'd become paranoid. That the hidden camera in the lamp was evidence of mental decline. That I was spying on family out of irrational fear. They didn't mention, of course, the footage of him swapping out my medication. Or the forged lease. Or the file I'd labeled groceries filled with damning recordings. David had prepared for this. He filed a countersuit the same day, elder abuse, fraud, medical interference. I didn't even have to testify. The evidence spoke louder than I ever could. When the case was dismissed with prejudice, meaning they couldn't refile, I played an old jazz record and danced barefoot in my kitchen with the windows wide open. I didn't even cry. I just felt light. But even victories come with shadows. The day Rebecca showed up, there was no warning. No drama. Just a knock on the door that felt different. When I opened it, there she was. Older. Tired. Hands buried deep in a jacket I didn't recognize. She didn't look angry. She looked hollow. She didn't say hello. She just whispered, "Mom. I'm sorry." And God help me, those 3 words hit harder than all the betrayal combined. Because they came too late. Too far past everything that had already crumbled. I didn't open the door wider. I didn't invite her in. I just stood there and let her speak. She said she had messed up. That she got caught up in the need to control. That she believed she was protecting me until it all fell apart and she realized I wasn't the one losing anything. She was. And I wanted to believe her. The part of me that raised her, kissed her scraped knees, packed her lunchboxes, that part still flickered, dim but not dead. But the woman she tried to erase had finally found her spine. And I wasn't going to give it up now, not for regret. So I asked her one question. Do you regret what you did, or do you just regret losing? She didn't answer. Just stared at the floor, eyes glassy, throat tight. And that was my answer. I looked at her, really looked, and said, "You mourned me before I died, Rebecca. I'm just honoring your wish." Then I stepped back and gently closed the door. Not slammed. Not locked. Just closed. Like the final page of a book I'd read too many times. Inside, I sat down by the window in my favorite chair, the one I'd brought with me from Asheville, the only piece I refused to leave behind, and I didn't feel anger, or pain, or triumph. I felt finished. And in that silence, I finally began to live again. Weeks later, I typed up my story. Not with names. Not with vengeance. Just the truth. I submitted it anonymously to a women's newsletter Margaret once mentioned. A quiet publication for older women, stories of survival, resilience, warning. They published it without fanfare. No headlines. No spotlight. Just a simple title. When they try to erase you while you're still alive. It circulated slowly. Between church bulletins. Community centers. Aging rights forums. Book clubs. Sometimes I'd hear someone mention it, not knowing it was mine. I never said anything. Because it wasn't about me anymore. It was about every woman who feels something's wrong and is told she's imagining it. About every mother who gave too much, only to be erased from her own life. About every quiet act of resistance that begins with trust in your own knowing. And if you've made it to the end of this story, then I guess it worked. They didn't get the house. They didn't get the money. And they sure as hell didn't get my silence.